MP for the NA gives a synopsis of 10-10-10 to present day. Dutch PM to keep coronavirus lockdown measures as cases ease. And a memorial service for the late Louis Leonoris Duzanzon takes place at the Phillipsburg Methodist Church. Those are the headlines for Tuesday, November the 17th, 2020. Good evening, viewers. This is SXM Daily News, and I'm Valerie Van Putten, and I want to thank you for tuning in this evening. And as usual, we have a full newscast for you, so let's get started. In our first story, a memorial service of thanksgiving for the late Louis Leonoris Duzanzon took place last night, November the 16th, at the Phillipsburg Methodist Church on what would have been his 72nd birthday. The late Louis Duzanzon, a long-time high-ranking civil servant with the government of St. Martin for many years, passed away some 7 months ago on April the 16th at the age of 71. Attending the memorial service on Monday evening were the Honorable Prime Minister of St. Martin, Sylvia Jacobs, members of Parliament, the Honorable Sarah Westcott Williams and Melissa Gumbs, the island's former Prime Minister, Marcel Gumbs, as well as the former Minister of Education, Culture, Youth and Sport, Pastor Wycliffe Smith, who were also on hand for the occasion. Due to COVID-19 protocols put in place by the island's health officials at the time of his passing, the funeral service for the late Mr. Duzanzon that took place on April 23rd in a private setting. Mr. Duzanzon, who was remembered as a dedicated worker, a man of honor, a walking encyclopedia, a go-to guy, a service-oriented person, a gentle giant, and a man who contributed endlessly to the development of his country, as well as a loving father and husband. A man who was always available to keenly listen to others seeking his advice. His son, D'Angelo Duzanzon, in his eulogy of his father, gave a powerful tribute not only to his father, but to his friend.
A very, very educated, dedicated, influential, and loving person. Now, even though Mr. Harvertong already said half of my eulogy, I'm going to still try my best to do it as best as I can. Because even though he would have appreciated just having a regular funeral service rather than this memorial, because of the guy that he was, he never liked the spotlight, never liked attention, but we're going to still do our best to try to honor him here tonight. Okay? So, Mr. Louis Duzanzon, who is my father, a member in the Order of Orania Nassau. The life of Louis Leonoris Duzanzon embodies the example of a loving husband, caring brother, wise uncle, honorable man, and trusting friend, and of course, the best father ever. His was a life that should be celebrated and remembered as one filled with love, honor, faith, trust, wisdom, and humility. He was born to Miss Florian Eulalie Duzanzon and Mr. Louis Alfred Duzanzon on the island of Aruba on the 16th of November in the year of 1948. Being the third child of a family of 4 siblings, all sisters, 3 other sisters that he has. Now, they could always rely on him to do whatever they needed to do around the house, seeing that he was the only male amongst the females. Now, with his education, he attended the St. Augustinas Primary in San Nicolas, Aruba in 1954. In 1958, the family relocated to St. Martin. Now, my father, during that time, was responsible for tending to animals that the family owned. He was never fond of taking care of animals, and he did not want to continue with that lifestyle. So it was then he decided to buckle down, study hard, and achieve what he wanted to achieve in life so that animal tending would not be his lifelong duty. Now, soon after the family's relocation, he then went on to complete his primary education at the St. Joseph School in Phillipsburg from 1959 to 1961. And immediately following those formative years, he embarked on his secondary education in 1961 to 1966 at the St. Joseph College in Phillipsburg, which Mr. Harvitong alluded to earlier, which upon his successful completion led to his pursuit of public administration and document management in the Netherlands, as MP Westcott Williams alluded to earlier as well, from the year 1966 to 1971. After the completion of his studies in 1971, he returned to St. Martin and was then employed in the island government of St. Martin.
And as we continue now in other news, the Committee of Public Health, Social Development and Labor met on November the 16th, 2020 with representatives of the Mental Health Foundation to discuss mental health care on St. Martin. This meeting was requested by Member of Parliament Sarah Westcott Williams. Former director at the Mental Health Foundation, Mrs. Eileen Healy, said that mental health does a lot, and it is complicated because they do a lot of things that in other countries, different countries' organizations do.
Yes, we put together a considerable presentation since Dr. Pelsweg wanted to put a lot of input in it, but I'm like, do we have the time? Mental health does a lot, and it's complicated what we do because we do a lot of things that in other countries different organizations do, which makes the work we do to explain kind of complicated, but we did our best to put together as clear as possible all the work that is being done for a small island, a small economy, as efficient as possible. In May 2006, mental health started project-based. In 2017, in January, we opened the doors officially. MHF is a government-founded foundation. Oh yes, sorry. There it is. We started with 3.5 FTE and one psychiatrist who was flown in bi-weekly. We closed 2017 with about 70 patients. In 2009, the first day treatment center was officially opened. That was when we first received AVBZ funding. In 2011, we had the first crisis room and 9 admission beds because the foundation in 2010 bought the building in Cahill and was renovated, expanding our options. Prior to that, all patients in need of admission or in crisis were flown to Curaçao. In 2019, the foundation provided 10,926 treatments. In 2020, the foundation now has 46 staff members in total and 581 active patients. Our care is based on valuing people, listening and learning to meet the needs of the clients, ethics and transparency, passion and open communication, service excellence, guided by patients' expectations and ambulant care. Our staff, accountability, take public responsibility for your actions. Innovation, be open to change and follow through. Collaboration, together we are strong and resilient.
And at the same parliamentary meeting and on the same topic, the Honourable Member of Parliament for the UD, who requested the meeting, Sarah Westcott Williams, then quizzed the Foundation's former and the current director on the Association of Psychologists and Psychiatrists that were brought in after the hurricane and whether this group is still functional and also if they are still involved with that voluntary establishment.
Following the hurricane, there was the association, I don't know if it was a formal established association of psychologists and psychiatrists to offer immediate help to persons who at the time could call and get help if they needed. Do you know if this association, this group is still functional? And if you know that, are you or your psychologist and psychiatrist involved with that? That was a voluntary establishment to assist persons, especially again, because of the trauma that the hurricane caused for many on the island. Dr. Pelsweg, you referred to the issue of the krankzinnige verordening that went into effect 10-10-10. Indeed, but it was we adopted the krankzinnige verordening of the Netherlands Antilles. I cannot imagine that with your workload and your lack of human resources, you would have had the time to see if anything in this law needs urgent updating. But if you have done that, can you please share this? Because the krankzinnige verordening is a very old verordening. I personally do not even like the name of that ordinance to manage and legislate mental health care. So if it was up to me, I would start with changing that name. But again, have you had, and if you did not, then I can understand that, the opportunity to look at anything in there and say, well, given our functioning today, this should be changed ASAP. The issue of persons, what about uninsured persons, illegal persons who end up on your doorsteps or whose family would come to you because of that person having mental health issues, serious mental health issues? In your presentation, you spoke of a multi-annual plan. Is that operational? Is it what you're operating according to right now? I really need to understand the issue of the World Bank and your project. And when I say I want to understand it, you got so far, and please correct me if I'm wrong, you got so far that your plan, after you had to break it down, is now at the World Bank. They tend to, and I say it cautiously, look favorable at that. However, your plan will not move forward if you don't solve the issue of the land. Am I putting it together well? So that's where you are right now. So even if you could get approval of the World Bank tomorrow, without the land, you can't move further. Okay, I just wanted to make sure I understand that.
And on Friday, November the 13th, Minister of VSA, Richard Panafleck, and Minister of Education, Culture, Youth and Sport, Dr. Anders Rodolph Samuel, signed a use agreement regarding the use of a mobile pavilion owned by Country St. Martin to be used and operated by the Princess Juliana International Airport for the upcoming tourist season. With the damages caused by Irma, PJIAE has been operating with limited space. As the peak tourism season is approaching, St. Martin can expect approximately 3,500 inbound passengers on peak days during the week, and this number is expected to rise in the month of January onward. In addition, the new health screening measures at the airport requires additional space that will be accommodated in the pavilion to create a smoother throughput and travel experience for all travelers. As Minister of Public Health, Social Development and Labor, it is with great pleasure we are able to assist the airport, and we thank them for their collaborative efforts to ensure the new health checkpoint at PJIAE is available to operate efficiently in order to protect our population and incoming visitors, stated Minister Panafleck. And meanwhile, as we continue now with our exclusive interview with the director of the NRPB about the private home repair program and other projects, when quizzed about the work that is involved in getting the Princess Juliana International Airport ready for the 2021 tourist season, Mr. Connor gave us an update regarding the airport's remediation project at the terminal building.
Well, the airport remediation, the project to clean up the airport, really to deal with all of the mold and all of the different elements that is within the terminal building, has started. And I think very soon we will be the NRPB in collaboration with the airport will be issuing some updated information on that. But it has started, and I think once this phase of remediation is completed, then the phase of the reconstruction of the terminal can commence.
So that's pretty good.
Right, I mean, one has to
Right.
be done before the other one starts.
Right.
But the first step has started.
So would you say that that'll be ready for our tourist season, which is next year?
The thing about the airport is this: the airport terminal is functional, albeit on a very small scale. So we've been using the airport terminal, and what I've understood from the project teams is that the way in which the airport will come back on stream would be done in lots. Right, so you have the remediation, you have the area where they're using now, and then that will be expanded once segments are completed. So the airport project isn't a project that you would say you shut down and you start, but the airport project is a project that you would see progress over the period of time, and the schedule time to complete the project and in its entirety is a 2-year, 24-month process once the works have started. And the works has started.
And still to come, Member of Parliament for the UP further explains the motion for the decolonization process. And we'll have the details to that story and much more when SXM Daily News returns.
GEBE has been faithfully serving the communities of St. Martin, powering your home and our economy. Come rain or shine, our qualified team of professionals are working hard 24 hours a day to provide you and your family with safe, reliable electricity and water. We use the latest technologies and test our products daily to maintain the highest international standards. Our friendly staff is always there to assist you, whether in person, over the phone, or online. We are committed to constantly improving our products and services, making them more efficient, effective, and environmentally friendly to serve you better today and our next generation of clients tomorrow. GEBE, powering a brighter future.
Our friend Megawati is here with tips to save you energy. 1. Turn your airco temperature up. 2. Use a ceiling fan instead. 3. Buy energy-saving products. Save some green with NVGEBE.
And welcome back, viewers. This is SXM Daily News. And now in news out of the Netherlands, the number of new coronavirus cases in the Netherlands declined around 15% over the past week, health authorities said on Tuesday. But Prime Minister Mark Rutte was expected to announce few changes to the country's current lockdown measures. In a weekly update, the National Institute for Health, the RIVM, said that there were 37,706 new cases in the week to November the 17th, down from 43,621 new cases in the week to November the 10th, and the lowest since early October. However, the number of people with a positive test result remains very high, the RIVM said, with more than 150 infections per 100,000 people in nearly every region of the country. The Netherlands entered partial lockdown in mid-October, and the Rutte's government tightened measures further on November the 3rd, shortly after daily cases peaked at about 11,000 on October the 30th. Public gatherings are banned currently. Face masks are strongly recommended. Inside stores and restaurants operate only for takeaway. Schools, however, remain open. National broadcaster NOS reported on Tuesday that Rutte may relax some of the additional measures taken on November the 3rd, including the closure of zoos and museums. There are currently 2,146 COVID-19 patients in Dutch hospitals, with 576 in intensive care. The country's medical system has been strained and routine procedures are on pause, but on current forecasts, it will not face a shortage of beds. Testing speed and capacity have improved, and this week, authorities opened a new mass testing center in Utrecht, the second of 7 planned around the country. Meanwhile, back on St. Martin, as of November the 16th, there were 6 persons who tested positive for COVID-19. However, there was a recovery rate of 22 persons, bringing the total active cases to 58. The total number of confirmed cases is now 939. The Collective Prevention Services, CPS, are monitoring 51 people in home isolation. 7 patients are currently hospitalized at the St. Martin Medical Center. The total number of deaths due to COVID-19 remains at 24. The number of people recovered since the first case surfaced on St. Martin has increased to 857. 212 people are in quarantine based on contact tracing investigations carried out by CPS of persons who may have been in contact with any of the active cases. CPS has tested 1,331 travelers arriving at the Princess Juliana International Airport and 7,088 people throughout the community. As the numbers continue to fluctuate, CPS will continue to actively execute its contact tracing measures. Minister of Public Health, Richard Panafek, would like to remind everyone of the necessary precautions to safeguard their health, that of their families, and our community. If you have flu-like symptoms, remain at home and call your doctor. And SXM Daily News will now bring you more of Member of Parliament for the UP Party, MP Krisha Heiliger Martin's Facebook presentation on the decolonization process, which was aired last Sunday, November the 15th, 2020.
The motion had a few things going with the motion. The motion said that we want government to continue to dialogue with Holland to come to a consensus with the conditions of the CRE. The CRE is really literally allowed, they want to literally come to St. Martin for 5 or 7 years, I don't know what they decided in Curacao, and run the country without our input. Curacao managed to make a few tweaks, but it still doesn't have our complete input. It's our turn now, St. Martin's turn now to dialogue, and then government and Parliament will simply sit and wait and see, provided our government remains within the realms of the laws of the international Kingdom Charter and local laws, then we're fine. Another thing that the motion is stating is that we recognize that we need to finalize the decolonization process. This had to be done 20 years ago. We're simply just doing what was mandated by us. It's a claim. And it's not that we're asking Holland right now, pay me billions, no, given during a pandemic. It's literally a discussion. So but with the UN as a mediator. With the UN as a mediator to discuss finalizing this Article 73. And what is Article 73? What does it mean? A, B, C, D, the 3 that is still not mentioned in our resolution. It means that Holland they are obligated to build our institution. So a debtor cannot be set conditions. It's our claim. You owe us to build, and we never claimed it. So I'm just going through that. I'm just literally going for what we claim. I'm not going for independence next year. I'm not going to change the country status. I'm going with exactly what you mandated us to do, but seemingly 20 years ago, a few things they were not paid keen attention to, and I'm going for that. We have been decolonized, and if another pandemic come again, we won't be in this vulnerable position, literally as beggars asking for money for our people.
Meanwhile, at the Parliament meeting of November the 5th, where the topic of decolonization was being discussed, Member of Parliament, the Honorable William Marlin, gave a synopsis of how far we have come from 10-10-10 to present day. The Member of Parliament also praised the 2 members, namely MP Krisha Heiliger Martin and MP Solange Duncan.
Year of celebrating our 10th anniversary of 10-10-10. This move couldn't come at a better time, because we should consider and look back at the past 10 years as a learning experience and a preparation towards the next phase. We need to, and that is where the sensitizing of our people comes in. It won't be business as usual. there may be, just like when a hurricane comes, some casualties. One or two people may lose their roofs. Many people may lose their roofs. And I'm paraphrasing here, not that this quest will make people lose their roofs, but we can't continue to, but we ain't got no choice. We got to take it. We got to accept it. It's their money. It's their money. No, they have an obligation to ensure that when you let us loose in the wider international community, that we are well prepared. The whole so-called debt relief, the skulsaneering, that St. Martin never really had. And then you're saying, but you can't even balance your budgets. You can't do this, you can't do that. Because of that colonial structure that we have always lived in. We can't have a discussion with a neighbor next door about any kind of assistance because it is not allowed. They're the only ones we can have that discussion with. We can't get a loan from somebody else because it's only from them. And then we are told by some of our own people, but yes, what do you expect? It's their money. Nobody don't lend you money or give you money without a condition.
Now, turning to our weather forecast for November the 17th, 2020. Moisture associated with a weak tropical wave approaching the local area, coupled by instability due to a mid to upper level trough, will cause isolated showers throughout this forecast period. Some of these showers may be heavy at times and can trigger street flooding. Residents and users in areas prone to flooding are advised to exercise caution. Meanwhile, moderate marine conditions are expected through Tuesday before deteriorating to rough seas. So our outlook through Wednesday evening, partly cloudy, becoming cloudy at times with isolated showers. Now, let's turn to your 3-day forecast. And still to come, St. Martin Lions Club gives a token of appreciation to their community frontliners. We'll have the details of that story when SXM Daily News returns.
The innovative Banco Matico contactless smart card. Your Banco Matico smart card is now equipped with a contactless feature for payments, so get ready to tap and go. Contactless payments are fast, easy, secure, and accepted worldwide at all Maestro-enabled contactless terminals. Tap for transactions equivalent to or less than 100 NAF, or the US dollar equivalent. You will receive notifications via email anytime you tap. Tap, tap, and pay fast with WIB. For more information, visit our website at wib-bank.net. Tap and go with your partner in progress.
Welcome back, viewers. And as we end this edition of SXM Daily News for this evening, the St. Martin Lions Club, under the Youth and Education Committee, recently invited all schools and police cadets and recruits to the Lions Den to receive a token of appreciation as part of their community frontliners. In his presentation, President of the Lions Club, Mr. Alphonse Gums, speaking to those present, said that globally, the COVID-19 pandemic has had an adverse effect on our education system and the way of life for all concerned. Day in, day out, many of you, our frontliners, have put your lives ahead of many to make sure our way of life is not affected and that we are kept safe. In mid-March 2020, schools and teachers were forced to deviate from in-person learning to online learning. We note that online schooling would not have been a permanent situation and that at some point we would have to return to face-to-face learning as we embrace our educators to accept our students back physically in school. And with that, viewers, we've come to the end of this edition of SXM at Daily News. I am Valerie Van Putten, thanking you so much for tuning in this evening. And this is just a reminder that this and other programs are available online. Just simply log on to stmartinmediacenter.com for viewing. So on behalf of the SXM Daily News team, we thank you so much for watching and plan on meeting you right back here again tomorrow.